Week 4 of the NFL now underway. Browns, Lions, and Bengals all fighting for wins. Wade alum Natasha Howard goes off in the WNBA Finals. And of course, a recap of the final week of the high school football season, at least for most here in Ohio. Welcome to Sports Nightly. I'm Alex Wilcox. Let's get right to the action. Baker Mayfield and the Browns looking to move to 3-1 on the season on the road at Dallas. First quarter, Browns pulling a fast one on the Cowboys. Going with some trickery here, Jarvis Landry launches this one to Odell Beckham Jr. Perfect throw gives the Browns an early 7-0 lead. That lead, though, didn't last long. Dallas back the other way. Dak Prescott dropping back, looking deep for CeeDee Lamb, wide open. 43-yard pitch and catch to tie things up at 7. Later in the first, Cowboys now up a score. Scary moment here for Browns fans. Mayfield flushed out of the pocket, gets rid of it. But take another look at this. At the bottom of your screen, the Cowboys' Tristan Hill lands on Nick Chubb's lower leg. He would go down in pain, would not return the rest of the game. Reports saying that he'll get an MRI on Monday to determine the extent of that injury. With Chubb gone, Cleveland would turn to UT alum Kareem Hunt, and he did just fine. 11 carries for 71 yards and 2 scores, including that one. At the end of the third, the Browns would lead 41-14. Dallas, though, would go on to score 24 unanswered points. Cleveland looking to close things out late in the fourth. Beckham again, just a straight playmaker. Cuts this one back inside and goes in for the score. The Browns get the big win on the road, 49-38.
The NFL games are never over. From what I've seen in my experience, from games I've been a part of, it's just never over. So, great film to go watch, to be able to have coaching points, to be able to make adjustments for down the road to where, we put these games away. And we do a couple more QB kneels and victories a little earlier and just be able to get out of there. So it's a great win, great finish off to the quarter of the season. Just got to keep it moving. Like I said, we're on the Indy.
Out to Detroit, the Lions looking for their second straight win, taking on Drew Brees and the Saints. First drive of the game, Matt Stafford drops back right over the middle to DeAndre Swift. Lions with the early lead. Detroit not done in the first quarter. After picking off Brees, Lions looking for more. Stafford connects with Kenny Golladay. Nice catch by Golladay to put the Lions up 14-0. But if you know Drew Brees, you know the Saints are going to put up some points. 28 straight of them, by the way. Here, the touchdown to Traquan Smith. Saints head into the break up 28-14. We go to the fourth now. Lions looking for the comeback. They give it to Adrian Peterson, who powers his way in. After a 2-point conversion, they cut the deficit to just 6. But the Saints kept the clock running down the stretch to secure the win. Lions fall 35-29. Joe Burrow and the Bengals hosting Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars. 3-0 since the end of the first. Minshew lofts it into the corner of the end zone to DJ Shark, who gets the feet down. Jags take the 7-3 lead. Minute left in the half, now 10-3 Jacksonville. Burrow hits Joe Mixon on the swing pass, and look at this. Mixon hurdles a defender right into the end zone, takes a lick, but he's all right. We're all tied up at 10. Mixon was just getting started, by the way. Early third, Bengals down 13-10. Mixon, right side, just outruns everyone. 34 yards to the house since he takes the 17-13 lead. Same score later in the third. Once again, they give it to Mixon on a 3rd and 1. Mixon's going to take this one up the middle, makes a guy miss, and high steps across the goal line. His 3rd score of the day. Bengals take this one 33-25. Joe Burrow's first NFL win. Now let's head out to Tom Brady and the Bucs taking on the Chargers. You're probably wondering why we're showing you this game, and well, we have a reason. Third, Brady connecting with BGSU alum Scotty Miller, his 2nd career touchdown in the NFL, his 1st this season. Congrats to Scotty. Miller would finish the day with 5 receptions for 83 yards and that score as the Bucs would get the win 38-31. Now, Miller isn't the only local standout making a name for himself at the next level. So too is Wait alum Natasha Howard, now starring for the Seattle Storm in the WNBA Finals. Seattle Storm taking on the Las Vegas Aces in Game 2. Here's Natasha Howard driving, lays it in off the glass for a first quarter bucket. Now in transition, still in the first, gets the pass all alone, drives it in, kisses it off the glass for another score. And now Natasha Howard on the perimeter, drives right past her defender for the easy bucket. Natasha Howard scored over 20 points and had 8 rebounds. As Seattle Storm gets the win over Las Vegas, they take a 2-0 series lead. Now, Game 3 takes place on Tuesday. Seattle seeking their 4th WNBA championship. It'll also be Howard's 3rd if they can get it done. Sports Nightly is brought to you by Team Sports, your preferred supplier of athletic team and business identity needs. Coming up next, a recap of an exciting Week 6 of high school football. We'll be back right after this.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by Groganstown Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Nobody treats you better.
How about some recap of some high school football action from Friday? Whitmer on the road taking on St. John's. Titans getting things started early. Brady Lichtenberg to Jaden McKinstry for the touchdown, and St. John's takes the 7-0 lead. Whitmer responds, though, back the other way. Handed off to Tommy Colbert, who powers his way in for the score. 2-point conversion would be stopped, so Titans still in front 7-6. The very next Titans snap, Lichtenberg hands it off to Carson Toth, and Toth is off to the races. He runs it right into the end zone for a 65-yard score. St. John's in front 13-6. Time winding down now before the half. Lichtenberg flushed out of the pocket, rolls to his right, and connects with Spencer Tayo, the future Cincinnati Bearcat, just making it look too easy. And from there, the Titans would get it done on the ground. Here they give it to Toth, and Toth does the rest. His second 65-yard score of the game. Nobody is catching him, holding it high and tight as he dashes into the end zone for the score. Titans go on to get the win, 37-14. Fremont Ross taking on St. Francis at the Glass Bowl. We're going to start in the second quarter. Knights up 21-6. David Kaiser looking deep, finds an open Joe Petro. Just one man to beat, and Petro is in for the score. Fremont Ross responds. Caden Holmes handles the pressure well, and rolling out, here he threads the needle to Spencer Price in the end zone. Little Giants pull within 2 scores. The Knights, though, trying to pull away. Kaiser hands it off to Jaden Harris. Harris with the nifty moves into the end zone. St. Francis in control. Little Giants, though, they're persistent. In the third, Fremont within 5. They'll take the lead here. Holmes finds a wide-open Price behind the defense. Fellas, we've got a ball game. Later, St. Francis trailing. Knights hang with them. Kaiser to Jamani Russell. Down low to keep it a 1-score game. In the fourth now, St. Francis staying on the ground. Stephen McCoy with the clutch touchdown. The Knights hang on for the wild back and forth 49-46 victory. Lima Senior making the trip to Findlay for a big track matchup. First quarter, Trojans on the goal line. Check out this lead block by the fullback, clearing the way for Isaac James. Findlay up early. Lima Senior looking to answer. Time winding down in the first. Spartans looking for Yarlin Chambers right through his hands, and Terrion Ross is in the right spot at the right time, and Findlay takes over. Now, off the interception, the Findlay offense would get stopped, setting up this field goal. Trace Robinson from 31 yards out drills it with plenty of room to spare. That looks like it would have been good from 51 yards. Findlay's defense coming up big as well. The defensive line swarming to the ball, both teams diving for it, but Findlay with the recovery in the end zone for the score, 17-0 heading into the half. We go to the third quarter now. Trojans quarterback Max Roth finds A.J. Adams on the far side. Adams spin move and heads to the end zone. Findlay with the big win at home. Final score 31-6. Central Catholic was back on the field for the first time in 3 weeks, taking on Clay last night. Scoreless in the first quarter, Irish facing 4th and long. Bishop Vargas tosses it out to Tayshawn Johnson, who stays in bounds and sets Central Catholic up inside of the 10-yard line. They capitalized right away. Very next play, they give it to Prentice Reasonover, who bulldozes his way across the plane for the touchdown. Irish on top 7-0 early. Now, Clay, of course, takes over after the Central score. Logan Heinschel tries to run it. He gets swarmed and then fumbles the football. Dylan Fisher picks it up. And check out this. He flips into the end zone. Acrobatic move from the big fella for the scoop and score touchdown. Irish up 14-0. We go to the second now. Central Catholic on the doorstep. They again give it to Reasonover. And again, the big senior scores. That puts them up 21-0. Central wraps up the track title 54-7 the final. Now this 3-week stretch wasn't easy for the Irish, but they're just glad they're through it.
It was tough, but the one thing we all kept preaching was control what we can control. and that's just what our mindset was.
I don't even know how to judge it, because how do you, going through this when you're playing is difficult with everything you're going through. But then to go through, you're not playing, and their season's already been cut by 4 games, that hit the kids hard. I think they've handled it about as well as anybody can. Have we handled it perfectly? No, because I know as a coach I haven't handled it perfectly and been in the greatest mental state at all times. So how are you expecting that out of 17, 18-year-old kids?
Very fair points there from Coach. Well, coming up, we're just getting started here on Sports Nightly. Next, we head to the NLL. Eli Brown and the Bobcats looking to get back on the right track, taking on Napoleon. Highlights from that game coming up next.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by Charlie's Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Doing it different, doing it right.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Napoleon on the road taking on Bowling Green. Eli Brown and the Bobcats looking to bounce back after last week's loss against Perrysburg. They started the game strong. Eli Brown takes it around the end himself. Nice juke move back inside, and he is off to the races. No one's catching that kid. Bobcats, though, would miss the PAT, BG up 6-0. The Bobcats' offense was just getting started. Later in the first, they pitch it to Caden Seither, who gets to the edge and puts down a shoulder. He's in for the score. Bobcats up 12-0. Now, after a Napoleon score, Bobcats looking to answer back. Brown on the play-action pass rolls out and finds Nick Powers, and that puts Bowling Green out in front 19-7. Now, after another Wildcat score, they cut it to a 5-point game. Here in the fourth, Bobcats give the ball to Powers. The ball comes loose and the Wildcats recover. Napoleon looking to get the win on their final drive of the game. 1:25 left on the clock. Zach Rosenbrook looking for Joshua Mack, and check out the catch by Mack. We're going to need to take another look at this one. Here we go. A replay there. Diving effort by Mack. What a sensational grab. So it would all come down to this. 15 seconds left on the clock, and the Bobcats defense comes up big. Napoleon wouldn't be able to get off another snap after this, and Bowling Green gets the win 19-14.
Our defense really stepped up in a big moment, and for us to see that before the playoffs is a really great thing. That means we can stay in games longer and really rely on them just to make a stop to win the game just like that. So I really love what I saw from D. Yeah.
I thought the defense played really well on that last drive, and really good job by our defensive line on that last one. Coach Struck called a run play, which, hats off to him. I'd have probably done the same thing, and I was afraid our kids were going to fly by it, chasing the quarterback, but they did a nice job squeezing like they're supposed to do and made a play for us and ended it.
Perrysburg hosting Maumee in the Battle of the Ding Dong Bell. That's a fun name. In the first, the Yellow Jackets looking to take an early lead. Thomas Tackett finds Isaac Witten open at the 10, and Witten does the rest. Perrysburg not looking back. Yellow Jacket D forces a 3-and-out. Tackett's in the offense back on the turf. Tackett's going to take it himself. He's in for the touchdown. Perrysburg up big. 2 minutes left in the half. Tackett's hands it off to Connor Wallenczak. He was our player of the week once. He scores. And now we've got a punt here. Maumee is punting it away to Aiden Pratt. Probably shouldn't have kicked it to this kid, Pratt, winding and weaving his way through the Maumee defense. He's in for the touchdown. Perrysburg wins big. 44-0, they finish a perfect 6-0. Springfield travels to White House to take on Anthony Wayne. Keeping it early in the first, Garrett Pike at the helm hands it off to Charles Renninger, who finds his opening to get the Generals on the board first. Still in the first, just like deja vu, Renninger has the ball again and flips his way into the end zone. They double their lead. Now at the other end, Blue Devils' Trey Materney hands off to Brandon Langston. Langston puts on the Jets and gets into the end zone for 6. And into the second now. Cameron Swigger in at quarterback this time. He hands it off to Garrett Pike, the normal starting quarterback. He gets 6 of his own as Anthony Wayne gets creative. Renninger, though, was the star of this game. He had 5 touchdowns on the night. Generals win 62-21 at home. The Battle of Sylvania. Northview taking on Southview. Aiden Schwartz ready to go for the Wildcats. The Cougars' special teams, they were ready early on, too. Wildcats fumble the snap, and the Cougars pounce. Nick Harshman tosses the punter out of the back of the end zone. Southview with the safety. This game was 5-0 Cougars heading into the half. Northview's offense, though, came alive in the second half. Here they give it to Aiden Schmidt right up the gut. Northview takes the lead 7-5. A few minutes later, Northview driving again. This time they give it to Brock Williamson. Williamson goes outside, and nice vision here to see the opening. He would eventually be dragged down inside the 5-yard line. The ball comes out, but they call him down right around the 3. A few plays later, they give it right back to Williamson, and Williamson finishes off the drive, keeps the legs moving. He's in for the score. Wildcats go up 14-5. From there, the defense would finish it off. Cougars looking to drive, but Aiden Swartz there for the sack. Northview gets the win 14-5. Last week of the regular season for most teams in Ohio, but just week 1 for the City League. Defending league champs Woodward on the road at start. This one was a defensive battle. Third quarter, Polar Bears up 3-0. There's Carmani Radford, who dives across the goal line for the touchdown. Woodward up 10-0. Start, though, had an answer. Jeremiah Behringer rolls out, avoids the rush, launches it downfield, and finds TJ Davidson for 6. Extra point, though, was no good. Spartans cut into Woodward's lead 10-6. Later in the third, Polar Bears face a 4th down from deep in their own territory. They try the fake punt, but Jayshon McKinney levels the punter, and Start takes over. To the 4th, Spartans on the doorstep trying to take the lead. Oh, but Behringer is picked off on the goal line by Wayne Cosper. Cosper is going the other way. That pick 6 seals it. Woodward knocks off Start 16-12. Waite hosting Rogers on the east side in more City League action. Rogers tallied a touchdown early. Rams with the safety here to go up 8-0. Now, it would stay that way until the second. Stephen Pittman gets the handoff. He weaves his way to the end zone, bringing the home team within 2. Waite was on a roll heading into the break. Nicholas Heslett has nothing but time, rolls right, seniors scrambling, then darts left. He's got a blocker, and that is all he would need as Waite takes its first lead of the night. Waite piles it on. Here's Heslett again. Calls his own number once more. That's his second score of the night, extends Waite's lead to 13. And Waite just kept on rolling in this one. Pick 6 for the defense. They get the big win, 40-8 over Rogers to open the season 1-0. Now, because the City League started so late, they'll play a 5-game conference-only schedule. Up next on Sports Nightly, our Player of the Week nominees. We chose 4. Now you pick the one. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Sports Nightly on BCSN is presented by Team Sports.
Let's take a look at this week's nominees for the Charlie's Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Players of the Week. Up first, Mike Robb's pick. He's going with St. Francis running back Stephen McCoy. The workhorse had over 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns in the come-from-behind 49-46 victory in a thriller for St. Francis to win it over Fremont Ross. Meanwhile, Mike Jewell, he's also going with a running back, but he's going with Anthony Wayne's Charles Renninger. Now, the guys on Game Day Nation have dubbed him the Quad God. After Friday night, though, it may have to be up to the Quint. 5 touchdowns in the Generals' 62-21 victory at Springfield. The blue and white trophy stays in White House for one more year. Your third option this week comes from Claire Dow and the City League. It's Waite Jr. Stephen Pittman, who had 2 touchdowns in their season-opening 40-8 win over Rogers. The safety and receiver scored twice a 25-yard run on offense, and then he also had a 75-yard pick 6 on defense. And finally, the fans' pick. It's St. John's Carson Toth. Hard to argue with this one here. 3 scores in the 37-14 senior night win over Whitmer. All told, the senior had 190 yards on 19 carries. You can head to BCSN's Twitter page to make your pick. Voting is open until tomorrow at noon. BCSN Sports Nightly will be right back. Well, as we do on all of our Sunday shows here, let's take a look at the fantasy football leaders in Week 4. Basically, if you had any of these guys, Your fantasy team's probably doing pretty well right now. And look, a couple of local guys at the top of the leaderboard. Joe Mixon, the running back for the Bengals, he had a really good day in their win over the Jaguars. 151 yards and 3 total touchdowns. Look at that, he had 42.1 fantasy points. I had Odell Beckham Jr. on my fantasy team, and I am smiling for the first time in a long time when it comes to fantasy football. He had 3 scores as well. He gave me 38 fantasy points as I'm trying to beat Claire Dow here. Moving on to Tom Brady, the ageless wonder. 369 yards and 5 touchdowns, and the Bucs come from behind win against the Chargers. DJ Shark had a nice game against the Bengals. 8 receptions, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook continues to do it all for the Vikings. Their workhorse, 27 carries, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns as the Vikings get their first win of the season. They were helped by their receiver, Adam Thielen, who once again went over 114 yards again, also had a touchdown. That's going to do it for us on Sports Nightly. We hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, voting for Player of the Week is open until tomorrow at noon.